Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hearthstone. So let's see what our custom deck is, because we need to play a bunch of taunt characters. And I bet custom rogue here is not full of taunt characters. No, it's full of combo characters. So again, we delete custom rogue and let's see. Let's make I think I need to make a warrior deck and play warrior cards. Yeah, and I think I can do that and overlap and have warrior cards with taunt. I think that will actually work really well. Let's see, just type in the word taunt, T-A-U-N-T. So last recording I was talking about how my phone is totally broken, and one of the things that I thought was messing it up, and probably wasn't, was playing Wheel of Fortune on my phone. Wheel of Fortune's free to play elements, kind of slow you down, but it's a fun enough game. It's a fast experience, and it gives you some reasons to play. There's a lot of tournaments. There's a lot of you have to win elements to it. We still need to do the Tavern Brawl also. The Wheel of Fortune slots actually has a scratcher element where, you know, lottery scratch off cards that you can get a couple per day, and that will get you gift cards or actual money even. And so that element seems interesting to me, to be one of the many fools that think they might win there, particularly since that isn't an incredibly difficult element of the game to deal with. So you could very easily have Wheel of Fortune slots installed, never played the slot machine part of the game, which is a decent slot machine game. And since you know it's from Game Show Network, I think, and Wheel of Fortune, it's not this incredibly exploitative game that's going to throw all kinds of ads at you and such. You can watch an ad to get more coins if you waste all your coins playing the slots, but mostly you can just ignore that whole element, do the scratcher twice a day, and see if you win some real money. And I don't know how deep I'd want to get that. Would I want to have 15 different games that had some kind of lottery giveaway things? Maybe, if I trusted them, but it kind of depends. A lot of those on Android and such are from no-name companies that'll say that you get this. There's a lot of them are complicated schemes. It's like, watch these ads to get coins, to then use the coins to in some weird way either get games for free or something of not actual cash value. And I'm more interested in actually winning cash that would actually help me. Now, if there was something in Steam that said, watch these ads and you would get Steam credits to buy games, I would be watching Steam ads all day. And I guess I shouldn't tell Valve that, but that they're kind of dropping the ball there. They should sign a deal with Google AdSense and put those ads all up in the Steam store. Something like that. But I'm glad, I guess right now they don't. And I think they make enough money anyways, so they don't want to rock the boat. Speaking of rocking the boat, in a lot of different ways, so Polygon put this video out that showcased allegedly old glitches from Assassin's Creed 2. And I know Assassin's Creed 2, I just played it and on PC, and I didn't notice any of these glitches, so maybe I got lucky, or maybe I wasn't paying attention or not. But still, I'm fully certain that it has these glitches, because I noticed other Assassin's Creed 2 glitches, particularly one that had characters spawn infinitely and several other things. And yeah, that game is totally glitchy, so there's no surprise there. But one of the glitches was with the SEO collection. They have like new shaders and things on them. So one of the characters looks very bad, and they showed it's one of the characters that's just randomly generated in the background, and so they were comparing this randomly generated character in the background to the original footage of a completely different character that was randomly generated, and saying, look how different this character looks in it, and they're not really being completely honest about, oh wait, that's not the same person, he's not wearing the same clothes, his face looks nothing alike. Yes, the new guy does look terrible on the shaders, so it was a lazy port, and if they had pointed it out that way instead of just putting glitches up as if they are new, that's kind of the problem, is they're dishonest on the level of on whether these are new or old glitches. They also showed a I knew this one was going to happen, but I don't need wins. This is the problem, is like I need to now look at all my cards and see if I can do anything. Like Protect the King is the only card I could probably even play here. So
you shall not pass.
Play one more top thing, and then just move on to the next game. So yeah, they also showed a glitch where you, well, they allegedly showed this glitch, where you're quickly climbing and sliding around there and not getting a proper grip on the walls as you're climbing. And I say allegedly because all of this was brought up and disputed in a video by a YouTuber. So now it's kind of this weird other twist to it. So you've got Polygon that put up a video that is being accused of just being rage bait and trying to get videos on a controversy. And right here you've got this YouTuber that is disputing that video also to be in the crowd with the rage bait and the controversy. So and I kind of don't even want to mention the YouTuber, but just because I'm petty and don't want to give him any extra views, but I'm not that petty, so I'm just being silly. So his name is Super Jam Chan. I will say, if I'm gonna get critical on other YouTubers, his video doing face cam for me added nothing to the
Ready
footage.
for action.
Really, he would have been better if he had scripted it out and read over actual game footage more. I didn't need to see his face. I didn't need to see him through his bedroom. I didn't need to see him wearing headphones with the microphone on. But that's kind of just me, I would guess, because it seems like most of the other people in the world do appreciate that stuff. And do want the face cameras, so I guess good on Super Jam Chan, SUPJAMCHAN. That's a mouthful of a name. Good on him for getting some views. He was on Reddit last night, right before my phone crashed, and so I suppose congratulations are in order.
Shields up!
done.
So let's move on to the next thing. Wow, I actually may run out of stuff to talk about here. Blizzard has an unannounced first-person project, allegedly. Allegedly again. And it's thought to be maybe an Overwatch campaign. I think that there's a decent thought there, certainly. Let's see.
What you want?
And this.
Seats ever.
And this. And
I got this.
here. And here.
Job done.
The turn. So, yeah, if there was an Overwatch campaign, I would probably play Overwatch. It would at least allow me to have one more new game in there. Overwatch is a $60 multiplayer thing, I think they charged the full price there, which is crazy considering what a free still. But if I had a solo campaign, I wouldn't be there. I might still wait till it's kind of died down as far as the multiplayer, but whatever. See, I almost feel like for a game like Overwatch, you would need something like Left 4 Dead, where it's a single-player campaign, but with co-op, so not actually a single-player campaign as much as a co-op campaign. Another interesting thing, we have no real response here, but some weirdness is going on at the Game Awards. Now, I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's important to remember that the Game Awards are the remake or reselling of the Video Game Awards that were on Spike TV. They've never been really legitimate. It's kind of an industry award system that's run by like one person or two. So yes, the industry votes on it, but there's never been any real legitimacy. It's like the Emmys and where they the SAG awards, which I believe all the Emmys, where people are just giving awards basically. But they've done some weird things. There was a fighting game I heard on Giant Bomb that said for some reason it was excluded from consideration, even though it was nominated by at least 2 people in a write-in field. So people were supposed to write in a game and it was excluded. And more clearly, the fan-made games, another Metroid 2 clone and Pokemon Uranium, were specifically quietly pulled out of consideration. Why? I don't know. Maybe there was pressure somewhere there. Maybe they simply just didn't want to promote something that was potentially that's violating trademarks, and didn't want to irritate Nintendo, actually, because both of those were Nintendo things. So, Walking Dead Season 3 has been slightly delayed to December. I won't play it until it's all the way done. A slight delay tells me that it's probably something in quality assurance testing, which is a slightly scary prospect. It could mean that Season 3 is buggy, and it could mean that it's buggy and they're not gonna fix it. Try that again. Ooh, I missed something huge. I just remembered. it was just announced again on Reddit last night before my phone died and I had slid in there. Ubisoft allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly here because I'm not sure I believe it, but allegedly Ubisoft has come out and said they are not going to release any more DLC that is taken away from a complete story. Complete game.
Job's done.
Which is kind of, it's probably got enough wiggle rooms in what they actually said that leaves them all kinds of ways where they could sell you DLC and say, well, that's not the main storyline. This is something else. But just admitting that there's a problem is the first step. And I don't think Ubisoft in particular has been a good actor on this stage. They've been probably pretty bad about doing DLC. I think maybe this also might be the same argument where Ubisoft might be worse about putting people into Uplay than they are about selling DLC, and that might be a factor here too. We had a similar instance. This almost feels like arguments are going back and forth between different companies, saying, well, if you're going to denounce our policy of DLC, we're going to denounce your policy of patches or whatever EA was saying they weren't going to do anymore. They were saying, EA was saying that they make their games for high-end PCs first, and that's mostly true, but it is also full of like free-to-play elements and DLC. And so saying their games are high-end but then full of extra bills is just kind of diverting attention to the wrong thing. And so it may actually, if I did more research and I come to light, that Ubisoft has been pretty light on DLC, and their Ubisoft is got other problems. Of course, Jim Sterling is doing his Ubisoft series now because he's got nothing more he can say bad about Konami since they don't make video games anymore. Had to figure out something else he could do. Let's see.
Shields up.
Practice makes perfect.
So maybe this is helping Ubisoft internally make some different decisions. Now the weird thing here is I'm almost certainly going to run out of things to talk about, and so I'm going to have to contemplate whether I want to do a third recording in that. Let's see. Because I have like Dishonored 2 is a patch is incoming. I may have already talked about that. The performance on Dishonored 2 has not been great. Let's see. The people that made Watch Dogs are still very happy with their sales, even though it's pretty low. I swear I wrote that one down, and but then I heard on Giant Bomb that the Watch Dogs gameplay mechanic and cycle is kind of boring, and it's not surprising. So you have this hacker, but then you give him this gun, and it just is so out of character. Then to have this character, whenever there's any struggle, they're just going to pull out a machine gun and shoot people, and then they have a few hacking abilities that work to it. It really is just GTA 5 all over again, it feels like. So and again, I feel like that niche has been satisfied with GTA 5 even to this point. And this is also an element, as I'm playing more and more Skyrim, I'm thinking to myself, do we need another Elder Scrolls game? Because unless they change a lot, unless they fix things and make it less grindy, have more actual interactions with monsters. There's way too little fighting that goes on in Skyrim. I don't know if this is possibly because I'm playing on easy, but I went through a cave. I swear I only killed like 5 Draugrs in the entire cave, and it didn't seem like there was places where more could have shown up. I don't think 2 Draugrs will ever walk out of the same casket.
For the life finder.
So yeah, I'm not. There needs more fighting mechanics, and there needs to be ways to increase your armor ability more without taking damage, because as I'm playing it, I'm just not taking any damage. So I'm never gonna have that level of I'm probably never gonna get heavy or light armor up to 100, simply because I don't have any way of a character attacking me constantly. Even if I have a infinite amount of spells. I think there is a way to grind it out by having a healing spell in my hand and just sitting there and using my magicka to heal myself as something's attacking me, like a bear or something. But I don't even know what the right item is. In the voice actor strike, that's still going on. Not a lot is there. I've heard that some of them are picketing with companies that aren't even making video games or in business anymore, because the list of companies that they would picket and that they're dealing with is so old. These contracts are so old that they're sending out picketers to empty buildings effectively. And then one of I think it was the FemShep voice actor, said specifically that she had one voice acting session where they had her just making vomiting sounds to the point where she actually threw up on the microphone, going like, I don't even want to do it, in fear that I actually vomit on my own microphone here. But why would you even need that many different vomit sounds in the game? I don't know. So that's an example of like the sessions. Usually they're like 4-hour sessions of non-stop talking. I couldn't do 4 hours. That's certainly something I can relate to and say, yeah, this is an insane amount of talking non-stop. I talk maybe 2 or 3 hours. Maybe part of the problem is I couldn't sit for 4 hours, but that's alright. They probably have me stand, but then I couldn't stand for even probably an hour and a half. So then that would be an issue too.
Job's done.
So yeah, there's no way I could do 4 hours because I couldn't stand. There's no hours I could sit doing 4 hours. When I'm sitting and recording, I do maybe 3 at most, and usually a lot less. Usually I'll do 1 hour, then get up and go do something, either eat or go to the bathroom or something. And this is a bigger concern as for me, as if I was ever going to try and enter the workforce, if they would ever have me again, which it probably wouldn't, because going to somebody and said, oh yeah, I've been a YouTuber this whole time, even if I can show them my over 150,000 views,
mental dislocate.
I think most people would not be impressed upon that at all. But like, I couldn't really go more than an hour and a half, maybe two and a half hours before needing to get up and leave and go to the bathroom or something, take a break. And
Are you mocking
I've
me?
never really been accustomed to that schedule. which is weird because when I was in school, I never did that. I know a lot of teachers were upset with kids that would want to get up and go to the bathrooms and just leave the classroom and such, but I was never really one of those. I was more happy just usually I'd make a deal with the teacher, just leave me alone, let me sit in the back, I'll be quiet and leave you alone. And ironically, my rap sheet, that permanent record that doesn't really exist in school, was long enough that they had seen incidents with the other teachers where they said, you know what, I would prefer not mess with this guy. So a lot of teachers were intimidated by the way of me too, because I was like physically bigger than most of the teachers, even like late into elementary school. So I was really, really tall and pretty fat too. So that all also intimidated a lot of teachers too. And frankly, I went to schools that were not used to students being confrontational at all. But I went to schools that were typically for the richer side of society, and they were more used to kids being told to be silent and obey at all times. And somebody didn't want to obey, they didn't know how to deal with that. But I'm not going to go through all of my misspent youth here, because if I did, it would probably take forever. That being said, if this game doesn't end quickly, I do have one more thing I could talk about.
Time to die.
Yeah, although it's not going to go 30 minutes. In fact, I could probably just... Let's see. Put a copy of each minion into your hand. No, that won't work. Draw 4 cards, deal 1 damage, deal 5 damage, draw a card.
The gates are open.
Here we go.
Job done.
So, yeah, I've got enough time here to finish this up. So, Agony has now reached 76k of its 49k goal on Kickstarter. And Agony is the demons with perfect boobs horror game that looks very interesting. It's not the other one that looked interesting. There was 2 that came out very similar to it, and Agony is the one that kind of stole the thunder, might be the right word, of the previous one. 1 damage to all minions, and let's go ahead and
here we go.
So, yeah, Agony has this really, it's set in hell and a very redhead thing, but there are several female characters that have these flesh folds and sharp edges on like a head that looks like an insect, or horns or something like that. Their arms are long and stuff. But then, from the neck to their midriff, it's pure, smooth red flesh with breasts that are exposed for your pleasure. And I'm like, game, you're not being consistent here at all.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
Let's see what happens here when I do this.
In the ground, you win.
and I really think it's been exploitative. Really, it's trying to sell on sex. It's trying to sell on this horror that it's not. I haven't seen the gameplay really in it. All it seems like is that, looking at the videos, that there might be some swordplay in it, but I doubt there's RPG elements, and I think it's just going to be a story of escaping, kind of like maybe something like Amnesia or fighting. And I don't know if they really know what it is either, because when I looked at their stretch goals, I did some actual journalism here and thought, first of all, they say they're expecting to release it on Q2 of 2015. Let's talk again that they got 76,000, but they were only asking for 50,000. This seems unrealistic. This seems crazy. That's way too little for money. Darn it. So I need to hurry up now. That's way too little money. The stretch goals are, if they get 100K, they'll give you a 3D character viewer, so you can see the boobs spinning around here. If they get 125K, they'll make a virtual reality edition. Alright, so 25,000 is needed to make VR. Maybe, maybe not. Another 25,000 to do multiple endings. Wait a minute. Put the red light on. Let's make it stop here and think. We're going to have some conversations here, even though I'm not going to play the game. And I am just going to play the rest of this offline. Warrior and Warlock and the Tavern Brawl all needs to be done. I will save the card pack for next recording session though, so don't worry, you won't miss out there. 25,000 and you're going to put multiple endings in your game? Is your game designed to have multiple endings or not? For 25,000, they may very well just say, go through door number 1 and you'll get a good ending, go through door number 2 and get a bad ending. Or just randomize it. That'd be even worse. Playing a game 3 or 4 times in a row to get the random good ending. Why does it cost 25,000 to make multiple endings? And why isn't that by default part of your strategy in the game? And why is it more important to you that you have a 3D viewer to show off the boobs of the topless demon and the VR mode first? Why are those stretch goals before? Alright, let's say maybe I'm overreacting here. Maybe it's not that crazy to say, if I have this extra money, I'll put multiple endings. It's something I'm thinking about, but the game will be fine without. What's the next stretch goal? Well, for 175K, it'll have boss fights. What? What's going on here? So, multiple endings are 150,000, but those endings won't actually be boss fights? So, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna find an exit somewhere. If it's not a boss fight, it's either a puzzle or an exit. And your game may have boss fights or it may not. How are you designing this game? Do you know what your game is? It's either going to have boss fights or it's not. Is it going to even have a fighting mechanic if I don't get up to 175K? Or will I simply not fight anybody? You can't change a game this much. You literally can't change a game this much just based on whether or not you can convince people to kickstart it. What's the next stretch goal? Let's see. Actually, I'm going to have to read that one. 200K. The next two stretch goal. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe they've got some ideas and they're saying, well, we could have a boss fight, we could not. Deus Ex Human Revolution is a good example of a game that kind of didn't need the boss fights, and they were done by different companies, so I guess I could see maybe having a similar experience like that, just like a bad experience certainly, but not totally ruining the game. So what's the next one? 200K. more playable characters. Why? Why do we have to get all the way up to 200k to have a different skin on the character? Unless you mean a totally different story and campaign, which is not what they're promising, then why is it all the way at the end? Just rearranging this would have worked way better. Like, first of all, I don't think a 3D character viewer is actually worth any amount of stretch goals, because that's something that could get hacked and modded in by anybody very easily. So put that really low, sure. But then the next one should be more skins, and then the next one should be VR edition, and then multiple endings and boss fights shouldn't even be a question. Either those are in the game or they're not in the game based on the game you've decided to make. That should be a core part of the game. The game should not work if it doesn't have boss fights, if it should have boss fights. The game should not work if it doesn't have multiple endings and you need it to have multiple endings. Otherwise, it's just going to be lame, like BioWare endings for, what is it? Andromeda? I forgot the name of it. The RPG. It's just going to be dumb endings that are slightly different from each other instead of big impactful things. But there's one more stretch goal as we wrap up here that I want to talk about, for the amazing sum of $666,666. They will come out with the Extreme Edition of Agony. This is a joke. So if they get over 400,000 more in the game, they're promising this Extreme Edition, which they, as far as I saw, didn't explain at all what that was going to be. The game seems pretty extreme already. What more can you do before you start skirting the lines of potentially illegal? How much more extreme can you get versus a game with nudity prevalent, it seems, and set in hell and violence and psychological drama? You can't go much more further than that. I bet the Extreme Edition is just some kind of crazy, we're going to package it, we're going to have a statue, we're going to do this, we're going to do that thought in their mind, and they're very nebulous, it seems. And of course, it's just a joke to get 666. And I'm glad they're not anywhere towards that stretch goal. I'm kind of upset that they've gotten any money at all, because I don't think this game is going to be good. I think this is one of those Kickstarter campaigns where the money may just get taken and run, and this game may never even come out. Maybe this is why people should do Fig, if anything, but honestly, people shouldn't do anything. Just don't support game development for games that aren't done. There are good programmers out there that are willing to sacrifice and make games while they're in school or while they're working a side job at McDonald's or whatever, and they've got the ability to at least make a demo and sell it to a company that will actually fund them, instead of trying to sell it to people and work through a system that is at best very risky, if not just throwing your money away. Anyways, we've been sitting here, and that's it for this recording session. I'm not going to come back since I'm out of things to talk about, and there's more work for me to do, though. A lot more work, and that kind of sucks. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me further, go to my main YouTube page. On the right there's a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.